some sort of spirit, ghost, whatever, picked those up and threw them across the floor because I don't know. Hey guys, so as you can tell by the title, I am doing an update video on a video that I posted 2 weeks ago from this video. Since that video went up, I wanted to do sort of an update, sort of a part 2, because there was a lot of information I left out that I felt like would have been too much if I put it in there, which is why I didn't. Like, there's just things I wanted to like expand on. So since that video went up, I've been taking notes on things that I want to make sure I cover in this video. However, things have happened since that video that I feel like I should address before I expand into what I already covered in the first video, just because it's crazier than the details that I left out in the first one. Like, some of the things I mentioned in the first video was, sorry, I have like notes because I don't want to miss something, but a couple things that I mentioned in the first video that I will get into later in this video. One where I kind of started out the video saying like I always thought like weird things were happening because it had to do with my sister. I will get into that later, why I felt that way, because I never explained why. Another thing that I want to cover is something that did happen, however, I didn't keep the evidence of it. I'm stupid. I thought it was nothing, which is why I didn't keep it, but something kept moving in my house and I actually filmed it and Snapchatted it to my sisters and Megan. And I didn't save it because I don't know, I didn't think it was that important, and I should have, because it would have been good for this video, but I'll get into that later. And another thing that I wanted to cover that I just never mentioned in the first one at all, because I just felt like it just didn't fit. It sort of has to do with like dreaming, not technically like sleep paralysis, but kind of like I was having a hard time determining whether things were happening in real life versus dreaming. But before I get into all of those things, something happened this morning. So those 3 things that I just mentioned, I had in a note in my phone. And I just kind of threw them in there like, oh, if I ever do like a part 2 to that video, I'll put these in it. Just because a lot of people like that video. So I thought I should do some sort of part 2, and because, you know, you can't really rely on things to happen, so I thought, well, I'm not just gonna wait around for something to happen. I'm gonna talk about things that have happened in the past. Well, something happened in present. Last night, every night before I go to bed, I always watch YouTube videos on my phone while Seth falls asleep, because he falls asleep super early and I can't go to bed until like 3 in the morning. But that's beside the point. Anyway, I go to bed watching YouTube videos on my phone. And one of the YouTube videos I was watching was sort of like a podcast, but they also film their podcast as well. So I usually wait until the video comes out because I just personally like watching videos rather than just listening to something. So they had just uploaded, I always wait, every Tuesday is when their video goes up. Mondays, I believe, is when the actual podcast drops, but their video goes up on Tuesdays of the podcast. So I kept checking all day to see if it went up, and it didn't, so I ended up forgetting about it until I was going to bed, and I got a notification that it was posted, and I was like, perfect. Usually their podcasts are around like an hour, so since it takes me forever to fall asleep, they're like the perfect thing for me to watch. So I was really excited when I saw it uploaded, and I was like, oh, this is great, because YouTube is crazy right now with a lot of drama going on, so I was really excited for this podcast. So I'm watching this podcast, right? And one of the biggest, like, I guess stories in this podcast is about how somebody broke into one of their houses. They caught it on camera, and it crazy. And they like didn't even know about it until the next day when somebody's keys were missing. Like, someone literally broke into their house, stole keys, and they didn't realize it until they realized the keys were missing. And I guess they have some sort of thing where they can track the keys, and it like went out of like, I don't know how to word it, like they went like out of like the boundaries of whatever the keys were set for, I don't know. But anyway, they ended up watching their security footage back, and they actually saw a man break into their house and steal these keys, right? So I'm watching this podcast and it's freaking me out because just the other day I was telling Seth how I have this big fear of he leaves super early in the morning and I'm always afraid of him forgetting to lock the front door, which he hasn't, but I have a fear of him forgetting to lock the front door and somebody breaking in and like robbing the place or whatever, something happens and I'm just there by myself and either I wake up to it and I'm freaking out or I just don't even realize it happens and I wake up to like no furniture. Oh, I totally forgot until right now as I'm saying this. I had a dream the other day where, and I literally, like, after I woke up from this dream, I made sure I stayed awake because I don't know. I don't know where this fear came from of me and people breaking in the house, but, like, it came out of nowhere. I had a dream the other night that somebody broke into our house and, well, I didn't realize it until I think I was getting up to go to the bathroom or something, and I came out to the living room and all of our furniture and stuff was just missing. And I tried to scream in my dream, and you know you can't scream in your dream for whatever reason, and anyway, this has nothing to do with the video, but that's what I was watching, and it was freaking me out so much because I had this weird fear of people breaking into my house, that I changed the podcast. I was like, I'll just finish this podcast another time because, I don't know, I'm weird. Okay, my camera just shut off. I don't know why. Let me just try to continue where I left off. I'm watching this video and the girl in the video named Mariah, she's talking about how she was home alone, her boyfriend was out with friends or whatever, and she was hearing weird noises, she was getting really freaked out, so she called her boyfriend and he tried to calm her down, like everything's fine, you're just freaking yourself out because you're home alone. She hangs up the phone as she hears glass break. And so she's immediately freaked out, like thinking someone's in the house, whatever the case is. Turns out a mug fell out of nowhere, like for no reason. And she was saying how she was frozen in fear, which then got me thinking like, if I'm home alone, what would I do if I heard glass shatter? Like, she was, I'm pretty sure, on the second floor and heard it on the first floor. I feel like there's time for you to think like, do I hide? Do I go check? Like, you know, you've got time, not a lot, but you've got some time to think about what you're gonna do next. And I was thinking how I only have just one floor, so, you know, if I'm like in my room or something and I hear glass shatter, it's either I pretend like I didn't hear it or I'm gonna go towards the noise because, you know, they're only in the next room over. We just got a new bed. Super comfy. So I was really excited to sleep this night because I knew I was gonna sleep really well. I've been sleeping awful, which I'll get into later. And I was sleeping really good. 8:10 a.m. on the dot, I woke up to glass shattering. Now, my first thought was, now is this in my dream or did I actually hear this in real life? Because what I'll get into later in the video is that I was having trouble determining whether things were happening in my dream versus in real life. You know, I would hear things and wake up from it, but I wasn't sure if it was happening in my dream or if it was actually happening in real life, which is what was going on in my head. But for some reason I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna be able to go back to sleep if I don't check to see if it was actually something that happened. And, you know, my bed was really comfy, so I just wanted to get it over with and check to see if there was something actually going on. Genuinely was not expecting to see anything. Like I didn't even put my glasses on or anything to like, you know, actually see. Because I genuinely thought I was gonna look around the house, I'm gonna see nothing, I'm gonna think I'm going crazy, and I'm just gonna go back to bed. I walk out, and I just kind of look over in this room. I didn't see anything. And then I look over in the living room, I don't see anything. And then I look over in the kitchen, and I notice there are not one, not two, but 3 glasses shattered on the kitchen floor. Now, there is literally only one other explanation other than something in my house. Last night before we went to bed, Seth did some dishes, and I'll try to insert a photo or a video of how this works, but on drying racks, you normally find these little tabs that you can like pull out and put like a cup on, like as it's drying. I'll insert a video or a photo so you can understand what I'm talking about. I've never used it just because I didn't even notice it was on the drying rack to begin with. But Seth used them for 3 glasses. My only explanation for this is that maybe, just maybe, those tabs were a little too tight because I don't use them and I'm the one who usually does the dishes, that maybe it was so tight that eventually overnight the cups kept slipping up and then eventually fell off. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like, it just kept getting, like, it was so tight, it kept pushing. I mean, these glasses are so thin, I just can't imagine it doing that, but that's my only explanation as to why they would have fallen, other than some sort of spirit, ghost, whatever, picked those up and threw them across the floor, because I don't know. These glasses are very, very fragile. We had a set that my mom bought for us for Christmas, and we're literally, after this morning, we are down to 4 glasses, and I'm pretty sure we started out with, I think at this point we probably started out with like 9, something like that, maybe even 10, maybe even more than that, but they're so fragile that literally if they touch anything in the sink, they will break. There have been times where we'll just come home and they're broken in the sink, which, for what we were assuming this entire time, was that, you know, it gets crushed by a dish or something and it just breaks. After this happening this morning, maybe that's not the case, but I'm gonna go with it. I'm gonna go with they're just super fragile, they touched something in the sink and they broke easily. But these 3 glasses, they were on the floor. One of them did survive, but the other 2 were completely smashed. There was glass everywhere in the kitchen. I tried to clean it up the best I could. I don't know. I mean, after I uploaded that video, I assumed, okay, things could get weird now because now I'm talking about it. Now I'm talking about it out loud. You know, I feel like it's inviting more things to happen when you talk about it. But after I uploaded that video, nothing really happened. Which is kind of why I really didn't think like a part 2 to this was going to happen. If I was gonna make a part 2, it was gonna be like past stuff. Because I didn't think anything new was gonna happen because nothing was happening until this morning. So yeah, I'm a little freaked out. You know, I woke up this morning, wanted to shower, and I'm scared. And I don't normally get scared. Like I said, this is stuff that's been going on forever. That I'm so used to it that it doesn't scare me, but this morning scared me. I've never had something that crazy happen. Now that I've told you something new that has happened, let's talk about the things I want to cover from the first video. In the first video, I talked about how all the weird stuff happening, I always thought it was because of Brittany. The reason I always thought it was because of my older sister, Brittany. Growing up, she was always into, like, witchy stuff. You know, she was always buying spell books and, you know, she was very into, like, witchcraft stuff, and, like, she was just very fascinated by it. And not just that's not the only reason, I'm just, you know, I'm saying she was very into this stuff, like, it didn't freak her out, and so I don't know if this was our entire life, because I don't remember, like, a time of it, like, starting. But Brittany's very weird when it comes to, like, electricity, and I know that's, from what I've read online, it is not normal, but sort of, like, it's not uncommon, that sometimes people just, something about their, I don't know how to word it, like, something about their vibe, you know, makes lights flicker, or, you know, makes electronic stuff shut off and stuff like that. I don't know what that has to do with, but that's what happens with Brittany. Any person she's ever lived with, she has broken a light. She'll walk in a room and the light will just go out and it's dead. That's it. Like, I don't know what it is about Brittany, but weird things like that happen. I don't remember if I got into this too much. She did have a Ouija board at one point. But she got rid of it after she was having some weird, like, dreams, maybe even sleep paralysis, over me and my little sister being possessed, because of the Ouija board. She ended up giving it away, because, you know, I don't know any other way to properly dispose of a Ouija board other than just giving it away, but we're gonna get off subject of that before I freak myself out. So yeah, those were just a couple things as to why I just thought it was Brittany, because I was like, well, she's into that stuff, she's inviting this stuff to happen, you know, there was already weird things happening when she was around, so that was why I assumed growing up that it was Brittany. But, you know, now that things are happening without Brittany, maybe it's not Brittany. Or maybe it's just our family as a whole. I have no idea, but I'm convinced now that it's at least me, if not the rest of my family. I have two box fans in our house. One of them is plugged into the outlet in our bathroom, but we have it outside of the bathroom, the actual fan. One day, I mean, this hasn't happened since, and this didn't happen before this time either, so, like, it's weird. Like, it would have been, like, it would have been normal if this was happening since I've plugged it in, but this was just, like, one day. It was just doing this, and I didn't know why. I noticed the fan seemed like it was in a different spot every time I was walking by it. Like, it was just slightly off, and I just didn't understand, and I thought, is the, like, actual plug itself too tight that, like, it's almost causing, like, pressure for it to, like, pull the fan back? You know, that's what I kept thinking, but I went to the extent of taking a Snapchat video of where I put it, and then I went out, I think I, like, went food shopping or something, came back, took a photo of where it was, and it was in, like, in a different spot. I sent this to Brittany, Erica, and Megan. I did not save the video, so unfortunately I can't show you, but I just thought that was strange. I didn't understand. I was like, is the fan, like, is it so powered that it's vibrating, so it's moving across the floor? Is the cord too tight, so it's pulling the fan back? I don't know. I didn't figure it out, but I thought that was strange. I didn't mention that in the last video. I thought I would mention it now. Last thing that sort of brings me to the beginning of this video with the whole glass shattering, where I didn't know whether it was a dream or real life. The beginning of this whole pandemic, or at least I think that's when it was, I was having problems with, I would wake up from some sort of noise, and I didn't know if it was happening in my dream or if it was happening in real life. And it was to the point where I felt like I was going insane, because it wasn't just one night, it wasn't just 2 nights, it wasn't just once a week, it was literally every single night this was happening. And looking back, maybe it was because, you know, with the whole pandemic happening and then me being unemployed, maybe I was just so stressed out that it was just causing my sleep to be, like, disrupted somehow. One of the times that I thought I heard something, I thought I heard somebody walking around in the house. And I woke up from it almost like I thought Seth came home early from work and that he was just around the house. So I got up to go see, and there was nobody there. And I was so freaked out that I was like, is somebody in this house? So I searched the entire house because I was so freaked out. I knew I wouldn't be able to go back to sleep unless I checked I literally checked the basement, which we never go in. But I thought, what if for some reason, by some chance, somebody is living down there and I'm just not even aware of it? Because you've seen those things, like, online where, like, people are living, like, in the attic and they don't even know about it. And they're just, like, stealing food at night while the people are sleeping. Anyway, yeah, I know. I'm going crazy. Searched the whole house, found nothing, and I thought, you know what? Maybe that was in my dream that I heard somebody, and I just thought for some reason it happened, like, outside of my dream. You know. Next night, I hear something hit the I have a window behind me when I'm sleeping. I heard something, like, hit the window, almost like if a bird flew into the window or something. Or if somebody tapped on the window, something hit the window. I don't exactly know how to describe the sound, but I genuinely thought if I looked out the window, I was going to see whatever it was, either standing out there or dead on the ground or something. I literally thought it was either a person or an animal, and I was going to see it, and I look out the window and I see nothing. So again, I thought, maybe this happened in my dream, I'm just going insane. And the more that this keeps happening, the more I'm freaking myself out, and the more it's going to happen. So that was weird. And then another time, I thought I heard the front door. And this all happens at different times, but it's always at a time after Seth leaves. So I always think whatever noise I hear, it's, oh, Seth came home earlier, oh, Seth is in the kitchen, or oh, I always think it's Seth, and it's never him. He's at work. But this third time, I won't get into the rest because there's just literally so many. I won't be able to cover it. But this last time I thought I heard the front door shut, and I thought I heard like the chain. We have a chain on our door. So it sounded like somebody came in the house and then locked it up. But it was confusing because in order for somebody to come home and do all that, they have to have a key to get in my house because the door was locked. So that's why I thought it was Seth. So I go out in the living room and nobody's there, and I'm like, oh, I thought he came home early for some reason. I don't know why I kept thinking, oh, on a Monday morning he's coming home at like 8 in the morning, or on a Tuesday morning he's coming home at like 7. I don't know what, like, obviously he's not, but it sounds so realistic, like it's happening out loud, that I'm thinking, oh, this is actually happening, this is not a dream. So yeah. That went on for a while. It stopped, but it went on for a while. So when this whole glass shattering thing happened, that's what I thought it was. I thought it was just my dream. I pictured it in my dream, but just to be sure, let me check the house so I can sleep at night. Yeah, I guess that's everything I want to cover. Genuinely thought this was just gonna be sort of like a part 2 and not really like an update. But yeah, that's what's been going on. So I don't even want to say, do you want to see a part 3? Because I don't know, maybe something will happen. At this point, after the glass shattering, that's enough for me. I don't want a part 3. You know, this stuff has been going on my entire life, so it doesn't necessarily freak me out, but I've never had something to the point of tons of glass shattering in my kitchen. So, yeah, I don't know. Leave me your thoughts in the comments. I don't know what to think at this point. I don't know what to do at this point, but yeah, that's my life. So if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you want to see more like this, because I'm sure you will. I do a lot of reacting videos and just a day in my life. So subscribe if you want to see any of that. But yeah, I will see you guys next Monday. Bye.